In this video, I'm going to talk about a raw vegan diet and cancer. And one of the reasons I want to talk about this is there is a perception among people that fruit in particular might be bad for cancer because of the idea that sugar is bad for cancer, which is quite a prevalent idea. And also there are people in the raw food world that still will say that fruit is bad in general, and also say that fruit is bad specifically for cancer. So let's talk about that a little bit. I think when I started off in the raw vegan movement, and when I saw the results people were getting and how many diseases people healed from and these amazing stories, I kind of assumed that cancer would be the same thing. And that the raw vegan diet was a solution to everything, and that if we could just get people to try it, then we'd see a lot of people eliminate cancer. Now, we've not got anywhere near enough studies or evidence to know if that is true at all, and therefore I would always be very hesitant to ever say to a person, yes, you can heal this cancer with raw food. I would never ever say that. I would never suggest that. All that you can say clearly as a raw vegan is that this is the best diet, whatever you are doing, because the best diet for an animal is its species specific diet, and the only other time that something else would be better is if that animal is fasting. That is the only two situations where eating is the Hippocrates, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. But if you are sick and you eat, then you are feeding the disease. So in situations where the body is calling to stop eating, then it's best not to force yourself to eat. And I always would have to add on, unfortunately, unless you are someone with eating disorder behaviours and history, in which case you should seek help, and you need to stop listening to messages in your head saying not to eat, and get in touch with your body or whatever. I don't want to kind of skimming over that, but I always am aware of that issue in my mind. So where are we getting to? So cancer. We don't have studies on lots of people trying a raw vegan diet for cancer. If we could get everyone in the world with cancer right now to do a raw vegan diet 100% for 2 years, awesome. We'd be able to see something there. And hopefully we would see some people reverse it with certain types of cancer at certain levels, with a certain age group, with a certain level of health to start off with. Yes, maybe we'll see some cancer reversals, maybe we'll see it slow down and all that, but there's no universal blanket, yes, this is the solution to cancer, but the raw vegan diet is the best diet if you are eating food. If you're in a state to eat food, the best diet to eat is the diet your body is designed for. The diet your body is anatomically designed for, which is a raw vegan diet based on fruit. Okay. So fairly well known in the raw food world is that the Hippocrates Health Institute, which is run by a couple called Brian and Anna Marie Clement, I think, was originally founded by a lady called Anne Wigmore. It's one of the most prestigious raw food centres in the world, where people go from all over the world to stay for a week or a month or a time, and the only food really on the menu is raw food, and it's focused mostly on sprouts. And I've actually been to it for a kind of day trip. You can go in. It's a beautiful place. It's an amazing place. The gardens, the paths, the ponds, the trees. It's a paradise. If you want a blueprint for a paradise place that you want to create, check out Hippocrates. It's no wonder that people are happy to go and stay there. But there is a little bit of an unusual vibe there, and you go to eat the lunch and it's tons of sprouts, options of sprouts, and I don't really like sprouts. And there's green leaves, which is good, and there's different sauces and things like that, and condiments, a lot of sauces. And there's a limited amount, and there's vegetables to some degree, and there's a limited amount of fruit. And I asked them if they had any tomatoes, and they said no, it's a fruit, and we don't serve fruit or something. And I said, but you're serving cucumbers and peppers, and they said, well, it's something to do with sugar. They didn't really know, the people that were serving it, why they weren't serving tomatoes, why they weren't serving other fruits. There were also people walking around that had tags on that said basically no fruit. Literally, they had like a name tag thing that said this person is on a no fruit thing. And they get people that come in with cancer and all sorts of other things. Now, what we've got to remember with cancer is, with cancer, there are people that spontaneously reverse cancer. For who knows why, there are situations where that happens. So there are cancers that reverse potentially without any real change or altercation the person's made. At least that's what we hear. Maybe all these cancer reversals are people that change their diet, I don't know. But we hear of spontaneous remission. So that can legitimately happen. You might also have people that have been misdiagnosed with cancer. You might have people that think they have cancer and don't really have it, that have just made it up. So you don't know if people are saying they had cancer and then it went away. You don't always know 100% what was really going on there. One of my friends that's been in the raw food movement since the 70s, he said to me that Herbert Shelton, who was the pioneer of natural hygiene in the 20th century, who fasted maybe more people than anyone in history, potentially, thousands and thousands at least, that apparently he claimed that he'd never found someone with a properly diagnosed cancer that they'd been able to reverse with fasting. So if Herbert Shelton said that, then there's a good chance that that fasting, that there's not really a great solution to cancer, basically, when it gets to a particular stage, when people know it's there. Now remember, people are developing cancer for a long, long time. This is one of the things where people say to me, they know their body and all that stuff, but people don't even realise they're developing cancer. And it's like a golf ball sized tumour inside them, then it gets into a huge tumour, and then eventually they're like, something's wrong here, you know. They're in denial, they're not in touch with it at all. So I don't really believe people are very in touch with their body a lot of the time when they say they are. So and I'm not sure if any of us really have the ability to be. So people don't even know that cancer's going on. Do we have any evidence? Now, there's been many cancer centres that have been opened up. A lot of them are no longer based in Western countries, like a lot of them have been shut down. And there's a documentary on YouTube you'll find called The Beautiful Truth that goes into this idea that there's been all these cancer healing therapies in clinics that have been shut down by the medical association, propaganda, and it's all about conspiracy and all that kind of stuff. And I just don't tend to believe any of that. Like, I don't think any of those centres were really healing cancer or anything like that. I think they might have been fasting people, and maybe some of these people reversed it or healed spontaneously or whatever, but I don't believe these places. So it's basically, it was made illegal a long time ago to advertise that you had a cure for cancer. It's highly illegal to do that. You can easily you'll be found and shut down if you try and do that. So anyone that is doing that, and to me, anyone that's offering a cancer cure is a liar, basically, because we don't have an easy cure for cancer. We don't have a blanket cure for cancer. Fasting doesn't do it. Raw vegan diet doesn't do it. There was a guy I was following, I'm just remembering, a young man, I think he was in his 20s. I think he was in his late 20s, highly successful entrepreneur, real estate guy, and property. He was an educator of property stuff and was a coach. Charged a lot of money, and I only found him, I saw him on TikTok, and all these videos were coming up, and I thought, this guy's kind of interesting. Started to watch more of his stuff, and then I came across this thing that his name was Stefan something. I'm trying to remember, but it was like, and then I saw comments below, R.I.P., 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 and I was like, how did this guy die? He's like 30 years old or something. Found interviews with him. I was like, it really seemed like he was going places, right? And then I looked a bit more deep, and I found out the guy had been diagnosed with cancer. I think it was colon cancer or something like that. Really, really young, got diagnosed with cancer, and went in to the doctor's appointment. He's a business guy, and he said it was like they were trying to hard sell him on doing the chemotherapy and everything, and he decided not to do that, and he went to fast, and he fasted with Lauren Lockman, and I confirmed that with Lauren actually, and he fasted twice. He went and fasted for 40 days, I think, twice, and believed that he'd got rid of the cancer. Now, it's potentially the case that he just went back to his old lifestyle when he did go back, but he died of cancer, even with 2 periods of 40 days of water fasting. I don't know if he stuck to the raw diet 100%. I don't think so. I don't know if he stuck to a vegan diet. So you could say, well, he just went back to the thing that caused the cancer. But, you know, that's a pretty extreme story of someone trying to use fasting. Also goes to show that fasting without lifestyle change is basically pointless. Like, basically pointless. If you've not changed your diet long term yet, don't fast. It's pointless. Unless severe disease conditions, but not because you need to detox and you need to lose weight. Like, not that. So I'm super skeptical, and yes, we've had a few people in the raw vegan movement that have got cancer, died from cancer. There's one lady that was a good friend of Philly Raw Christina. She went to Woodstock a number of times, and she got breast cancer. I believe that she was somehow close to the, what's the guy called? Celery juice guy? The medical medium? By the way, never listen to spirits when it comes to health. Don't listen to disincarnate spiritual entities. What do they know about health? They don't have a body. What the hell are you listening to them for? You shouldn't really, don't treat spirits with like reverence. They're just, you know, anyway. So the medical medium's channeling people, and apparently he said to this girl, oh, it's not cancer, don't worry about it. And I think she spoke to someone else in the raw movement who was like, oh, let's make sure you get enough supplementation and daily green boost, and let's check your vitamin D levels and all that nonsense when a person has cancer, and they should get it operated when you've got breast cancer. If you've been on a raw vegan diet, like, or I don't think you maybe wasn't 100% raw, but if you're on that path already and you get breast cancer or something, you got to assume that more green juice isn't going to do the trick. Like, you probably need to go for some conventional treatment at some point. There was another lady that came to Woodstock. I don't know if she ever changed her diet, but she got a free ride to Woodstock a couple of times. They even set up a whole scholarship under her name and all this stuff. At the very end, she was raising money to go to Gerson, and $25,000 to go to Gerson for a month. Total scam. That place is a complete con, total scam. Are there some people that reverse cancer, but on a raw vegan diet, maybe in the very, very early stages, maybe? She was so far advanced, there's no way they wouldn't have known that there was no hope for that girl. There was no hope, and it was very sad that she'd allowed it to go that far. It was very sad that she, as many people are, get encouraged not to do the conventional thing. Unfortunately, sometimes you might have to cut it out, cut it off, sadly. No one wants to cut parts of the body off, I get it. No one does. We would all prefer a natural cure. No one wants to be operated on. But honestly, there's a lot of people that survive cancer because they just do the conventional route. And we shouldn't forget that. But anyway, getting back to fruit and cancer, is fruit bad for cancer? There's some kind of thing called one of these effects that, you know, when you eat sugar, cancer eats sugar. Yeah. So will fasting help? Well, if fasting doesn't cure it, what's the point really? You know, I don't think there's any chance that Hippocrates are having better rates of cancer reversals than anywhere else. I don't see them producing any evidence of that. If they had that evidence, they would show us. They don't, unfortunately. And maybe for them, someone surviving for a little bit longer or whatever. But there was a study, the only study I've seen done in Gerson, they put, some people had like an irreversible cancer. So it's maybe not the greatest study, but it was just like pancreatic cancer or something that was really far along. So they put some of the people on Gerson type therapy. Whether they actually stuck to it, who knows? Who knows? I don't really know how they did this, but supposedly they put them on Gerson, and the others they gave chemotherapy. And the ones that were on Gerson started to die super quick, and they not only started to die quicker, but their quality of life was worse. The people on chemotherapy actually had experienced a longer life and a better quality of life, according to that study. Were those people really doing the Gerson thing, which is raw vegan sort of with coffee enemas? Who knows? Who knows for sure? So I mean, I've come across some people who claim to have reversed cancer, but it's quite rare. And to me, the best thing is try and prevent these things. Don't cause them. The problem is when something goes so far, just like if you cut your arm off, that's too much to heal. That's like too far. And it's the same thing with cancer. If it's gone too far, it's not going to heal, most likely, regardless of what you do. No matter how green your green juice is, how fresh that grass is, it's not going to heal, sadly. And maybe that's when you need to get it cut out, sort of areas, sort of things. I don't know what I would do. I mean, if I got diagnosed with cancer, which I absolutely don't think I'm immune to cancer. I don't think I'm immune to anything really. I mean, potentially I could get anything. If I get diagnosed with cancer, what would I do? I would just continue doing what I'm doing. Maybe I would fast, see if it had any effect, and probably if there was some kind of conventional treatment that wasn't too invasive, that I wasn't going to lose a body part, if it was just cutting out some tissue with a tumour in it, I don't see why I wouldn't consider that very strongly. You probably want to do your research a little bit and see how many people have recovered from it and how the operation went for people and try and get the real truth around it and get a few opinions. But you probably want to act fast at the same time. So that's a little bit of an overview of how I feel around around cancer. I certainly don't think fruit definitely doesn't cause cancer. Definitely doesn't cause cancer. Once you've got cancer, the idea that fruit is making it worse, well, you're basically just saying at that point that eating is making it worse, because if you eat food, the cancer is eating the food. Well, of course it is. But you can't stop eating, and if you're going to eat, you should eat food that's anti-cancerous, that's antioxidant, that's the best for you in every way, the food that is your body's designed for. So if you're going to be eating, eat fruit. The only situation is if fasting would be better, and there's not really any conclusive evidence that fasting is better for cancer, or that fasting cures cancer. One last little thing. Did Steve Jobs get cancer because he was a fruitarian? Well, firstly, Steve Jobs wasn't a fruitarian. He did try a fruitarian diet in the 70s or something like that, which is why he named the company Apple. And after that, he was a vegan. As far as we know, he was a vegan. And I don't know if any of us know exactly what his diet was, but it was probably a conventional cooked vegan diet, and he got pancreatic cancer. And I think when he got diagnosed with the cancer, he tried to deal with it I think he tried to do a raw vegan diet again at that point and avoid the conventional therapy, and he died. And did fruit causes cancer? Most likely not. I'm pretty sure if we go to the pancreatic cancer website, we'll not see them say that fruit causes pancreatic cancer. Does sugar cause pancreatic cancer? No. Did the vegan diet cause the cancer? We just have to look at how many people have pancreatic cancer are vegan. It's probably not going to be the majority. So he was unfortunate. He got pancreatic cancer for whatever reason, and maybe he could have still been alive if he'd done the conventional therapy over trying to go raw vegan at that point, when it's 30 or 40 or 50 years too late. So my advice to you, if you want to live a long and healthy life with lots of energy and avoid disease to the best ability possible, eat your species-specific diet. Eat fruits and vegetables to an abundance and to an exclusion of all else. At least move towards that as the guiding light. And but don't spread information and false hope that people can cure cancer and reverse cancer. You just don't know enough about the situation. Hopefully we will start coming out with more clear information at some point showing actual reversals, maybe, but we just don't see enough stories. A lot of the people in the raw vegan, I've got a lot to say about this, a lot of people in the raw vegan movement that tell you they've reversed cancer and they say that kind of stuff, they've often done a combination of conventional therapies and the raw vegan diet. It's not just one. So they've had the tumour removed with surgery, and they've then done the diet. That happens many, many times, and then people say, like, the raw vegan diet, they almost give the impression the raw vegan diet was the thing that cured it, and that's just not right. It's just not right to say that. There's another lady I saw once who'd had both breasts removed, and then I think she found Robert Morse and she started doing his, and she said, oh, I wish I'd found you before the thing, but I don't think she would have survived if she'd just done fruit. If you've got that level of breast cancer, you know, unfortunately that's maybe the only solution. But let's get away from the foods that cause cancer, the tumour causing foods, the animal products, the animal products, the junk foods, the junk vegan foods even. Let's get away from all this stuff. Thank you for watching. Check out more information below, my book, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.